Oh, there we go. Mic was all right. Hello, everybody. How's it going? It's been a long week. It's been a really long week. I was last week on Thursday. I cut the stream short mostly because I was having trouble talking. My head was killing me. My teeth were killing me after having 6 fillings done all simultaneously. So that was kind of a pain to deal with. My jaw was still swollen for another 2 hours after the stream was done and over with. Here. Kind of pondering what to even talk about today. Not sure who's going to be hopping into chat with us, but it's fine. A chance to type away and figure out some of the stuff going on here. Some people know I posted my 4th chapter for Panic last night. It's half as long as it was going to be, and I kind of cut the chapter short for consistency reasons, because if I continued where I was going with it, it's almost done with the 5th chapter at this point. It would have been 2 to almost 3 times longer than most of the other chapters, and I felt like that was very inconsistent. So I cut it down to a point where I felt like a good chapter would have ended. Let's see here. Pull all this up. Continue talking while I'm doing my thing, I guess. Not sure who all would be interested in watching me right now anyways. In the background, as usual, I have just Mr. Momo channel. Just chill fucking music in the background. This is what I listen to when I write. And it's kind of supporting in a way. Oh, not sure how to put it. Let's see. I didn't have a particular topic to go over today. It's kind of relaxing and doing my thing. People can ask questions. As usual, anybody on Twitch, my channel is below, linked down. Check out all the work I have out right now. Everything I post is completely free until the end of the year. After that, I'm switching over to subscribers have access to everything I post. 1 month early access. All of the chapters, all of the artwork, everything I throw up on there is going to be a 1 month early access. It's only $1 for my lowest tier. The higher ones are obviously going to have better access to physical and digital stuff. I'm not really 100% finished with everything, obviously. I need to go back and hire a new artist, because all of the art that's on there right now is from an artist that I haven't spoken to in 2.5 years. Guy from Paris and one of his friends, they were both doing artwork for me, and it was all private commissions. It was before I opened the Patreon. It was before I even considered doing Patreon. But the Patreon itself has been up for about a year now, and the way I was doing things just wasn't bringing anybody in. So, I mean, most of the 4 subscribers I have now are people I personally know, or have somehow convinced to support me. Let's see here. Also, my public Twitter is up on there now for channel. Subscribers also have access to my private Discord for all of this. I might publicize it later and make it accessible to everybody, but right now there's just not enough there for it to make a difference. I don't have enough people behind all of these projects and supporting me, either commenting, just chatting, doing stuff like this with the streams. I just started this last week, So this is only my third stream doing this. I plan on doing these every single Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock for at least a half an hour. This gives me a chance to have people come in, just random viewers, come chat, check things out, check the work out, support me if they'd like. All in all, the entire deal behind it is I'm trying to be a professional writer, and in this day and age and where I live, it's not as possible, I suppose. I don't have the connections to get into doing anything like that, and I don't have the money for schooling in order to do that anymore. I have so much else to pay for. I mean, debt. Just debt. Mostly from a gaming career that didn't really take off. That's several years ago I graduated for doing that. Let's see though, I keep getting off track. Anybody in here to chat with anyways, but let's see here. But as I was saying before with the inconsistency, I want every chapter to be 4 to 6 pages, not like standard, small book pages. I'm talking full 8 by 11 type pages. That format's going to change as soon as it goes into an actual book state. I mean, it's mostly word count that makes the biggest difference. But I'm trying to get 4 to 6 pages at least on this, wherever I feel comfortable cutting it off. Let's see. Last night I posted the Chapter 4 update for Panic, as I said, and an extra paragraph on that to... It's kind of, this is part of what's coming. And that's up to the 19th page right now. I'm a bit further than that. I won't get into too many specifics because I don't want to give it away. Hopefully I'll have another chapter to post by the end of this week or next week. This week I turned 28 on Saturday, so I have a busy weekend ahead of me. Mostly a couple of friends of mine are dragging me out of the house to go to a concert for a band that I particularly enjoy, Psycho Stick. They're playing in Madison nearby, so I'm going to go see them for the 4th time. It's been a couple of years since I've last seen them come through here. They used to play GeekCon every year, but they shut that convention down mostly because of funding, and the hotel that was hosting it decided to be dicks and kept charging more and more money, so the event hosters couldn't do it anymore. They couldn't financially support it. It's like a lot of conventions in this area. They can't really get off the ground because nobody wants to financially support it. And yeah, regardless of how many people you come through, you can't pay for it if you can't pay for it. Let's see. On here, is there? Probably gonna be a slow Tuesday. Only about 10 minutes into this. Oh, jeez. Still bugging out now. Damn thing. Like my OBS is starting to weak out a little bit. Not very good, but not sure I can do about it either. Not while I'm active. Let's see. I suppose I could talk about some of the other projects that are going on. I've started the second chapter for Deus, the science fiction robot combat kind of story. That's going to be a little while before I have a chapter ready for that, because it's not one of my primary focuses. It could be later down the line, but it's not right now. I've been focusing on Panic, mostly because of my severe writer's block towards my Regenda story, which for the time being might as well just be considered on hiatus. Nothing I've written so far recently has felt good enough. I felt like I stagnated a little bit with the last couple chapters, other than the history stuff, which that's been set in stone for so long that rewriting it is not particularly difficult. It's just coming up with stuff that I didn't really have anything for in between where the start of the story technically begins and the year prior, where most of the important characters get together and meet. So for the time being, I'm considering that one technically on hiatus until I feel something I write is good enough to even consider posting. Other than that, looking for an artist to redo all of the character designs and things like that is going to be stressful, I guess. I want to get more people in on this so I can have money to put towards doing hiring a new artist. Because the last one I hired, he didn't overall do super expensive work, and that's why I was able to afford him. But at the same time, if I want to have perfectly done designs, I'm going to have to pay for it. I'm going to have to pay a lot for it. There was an artist who was active then, and I think he's still active now. I found him on DeviantArt. He was interested in being part of the project, but the designs he was doing were a bare minimum $150 to $200 for new characters. And I couldn't afford that at that point in time. I was making less than I do now, and I had a lot more to pay for, I suppose. I'm in transition right now between apartments. I got out of my last apartment a few months ago, and I've been living with family, and I'm moving into a new apartment hopefully in the next 6-ish months, once I have some other things paid off. I got my car paid off finally, but I have to either sell or pay off my motorcycle. I have my credit card and stuff like that to do. And if I can get some money back from doing this, and being able to focus more time on doing this, and I can focus more on hiring an artist and things like that. Because until I could do this full time, I'd have to focus any money I really get from this into doing artwork and maybe hiring an editor eventually. I don't really have anyone like that now. It's also another reason why I don't ever get anything posted. I spend way too much time mulling over words instead of just throwing them at the page. I have to sit there and mull it over in my head 5, 6, 7 times before I type anything. And then even then, I probably won't consider it good enough to be what actually should be there. Being a perfectionist just kind of sucks. Back to other projects here, though. So, Regenda's holding for now. Panic, I'm going to be actively updating for the next couple weeks at the very least. The tabletop engine has been slow, Soulblade. Mostly because the details are all there. Well, the basis is all there, it's just detailing every single thing. And I'm doing it by myself, so compared to something like Wizards of the Coast or Paizo, who have entire teams of people rebuilding engines, I'm starting one from scratch from the ground up by myself. And I didn't really ask any of my friends to help me with this one, it's just kind of there. I had them play test it once or twice, and so far they seem to have enjoyed it, but I haven't been able to get people together in the same room to do even normal D&D campaigns in 5-6 months. Half of my people who were in my campaign that I was running in order to do the Rugenda story and iron out more details there, half of them are either in Arizona or Ukraine right now. So, maybe not Ukraine, somewhere overseas. I don't know. I don't know where the hell they sent him. But he won't be back for a year, and the guy who's went to Arizona, he's gone for good. He's down there forever. Couldn't stand the weather up here, mostly because it's fucking cold. It's, what is it, 12 degrees as I'm recording this right now, outside? It's fucking cold. And it's gonna get colder tomorrow, and it might snow, so that's always nice. Let's see here. So I'm working on little details, perfecting abilities and race traits, and trying to iron out the overview into a basic guide on how to play my engine. I have to go through and just type up an entire fucking guide on how to play it. And I've been stalling on that because of other things going on, so for the time being, that's the details are there. If you can figure them out on your own, that's great. Otherwise, yeah, questions are always welcome. I mean, here during the streams, you're more than welcome to ask questions. My Twitter is attached to the Patreon. Anybody can add me there. Just ask me questions, things like that. Send me cat pictures. Doesn't matter to me. Let's see here. The last major project, I suppose, would have been Slayer, and that one's really behind. I haven't had any drive to put any information on that one lately, mostly because I'm looking at a wall of I should write a plot for this before I start working on the details and mechanics, but I need to focus on details and mechanics before I work on a plot. And it just kind of spirals back and forth in my head, and I don't get a whole lot done. Mostly figuring out armor and weapon details, figuring out how spells are going to work, which currently I still want to stick with the paper casts for that system. I want to turn this into a video game, obviously, and I won't be able to do that by myself. I'm not nearly good enough at coding. I took 4 years of programming and the like in high school and had 3 years of it in college. I still can't program. I can't fucking do it. Java just goes right over my head, C++. I just couldn't manage any of it. My brain just doesn't process secondary languages, and programming is a definite secondary language. So, building this by myself is going to be nearly impossible. I'm going to have to iron out the details and send it to a company later on. Maybe they'll be willing to do it for me. But I'm mostly just ironing out what weapons are going to do, how they're going to affect the world, tools, things like that. For anybody who hasn't read up on it, the Slayer project is mostly I want to make a first-person slasher monster hunter, in a sense. Mostly hunting eldritch, things like werewolves and vampires and things of the like. That one's been idle and not very forward with what I want to do with it, mostly because of it's just a me project. I didn't really bring my friends into this one, unlike some of the other stuff. It's just figuring out how I want things to look and function beforehand. But I envisioned it to be a mostly stealth-oriented game. I wanted it to be a mix of Thief and Dishonored with monster slaying. That's the best way I can really put it. both fantastic titles, and I think that it would work out rather well. Mostly how light mechanics would work, and weight, and spells, and things like that. So every single item you can carry whatever you want to into a mission. But the more you carry, the easier you are to see, the slower you move, and the harder it is for you to dodge and do whatever else you need to do. But at the same time, if you go into a mission with too little, you might get caught into a fight or ambushed, and you are fucked. That's just the best way to put it. So you take too little, and you might get screwed over in the long run, or you take too much, and you might just end up breaking everything you have, wearing yourself down, and ending up in a similar situation. It's all about balance. And the spell mechanic I wanted to implement is everything you cast, you don't learn magic as much as, well, I suppose you do learn it eventually, like you can master it, but everything in it is based around slips of paper with sigils drawn on them. And when you cast that spell, it burns the paper up and you cast the spell. However, there's going to be drawbacks. So if you have something like a fireball spell and you just use it over and over and over again, you start on fire. You start burning and losing health from using the spell too much. However, if you use a spell enough times over the course of several missions without the repercussions of multicasting like that, you can brand yourself with that sigil eventually and have free casts of it without wasting the paper slips, but you still have the risk of the repercussions. So you can either have it branded into you or tattooed. I haven't figured out the details behind it. But that's how I want the spell system to work. It's a lot simpler. There's not a ton more behind the magic, at least. As I said, I want this to be based to like Dishonored and Thief, so tools of the trade are going to have to be an important part. And on top of that, figuring out how the setting would approve more technologically advanced stuff, I guess. Like, should I implement something that might function as a grappling hook or things like that? It's going to be mostly stealth-oriented because every fight is going to be really fucking difficult if you don't get the drop on the enemy. Or if you don't kill them before they even have a chance to act. And I want every level to be redoable, in a sense, in a different way. Maybe not randomly generated. I mean, it would be nice, but that'd be a hell of a lot harder to do. But I do want it to be so that you can finish a level your way. If you want to build yourself up to be a caster and stick to the distance and trick enemies into falling into traps and things like that, that's one way to do it. If you just want to be a straight-up assassin, sneak in, kill the exact target you need to, and get the hell out, that's another way to play. Or you can just armor yourself up and prepare for a hell of a fight and do everything that way. I want every level and scenario to be done the way you want to. Let's see here. As I said, weapons and armor and everything are going to have their own weights and visibility. I want reflectiveness when it comes to weapons and armor and stuff like that. So even in the darkness, if something shines off of you, it makes it easier to see. So if you have more stuff on you, it just generally makes you easier to see, even if you're hiding in complete darkness. Let's see here. I don't have a whole lot for plot for that one either. To be completely honest, the basics behind this legitimately came to me in a dream several years ago, and it's just kind of rolled from there. But let's see here, I also want to implement more parkour aspects to it, I guess. So mantling and going across rooftops and things like that. I want this to take place in a Victorian, early 17 to 1800s kind of feel to it. So everything about the stealth system is going to be based around sound, light, and line of sight. So even if you're in... the best way to put it here. So for a stealth system, I want enemies to have their own sight cones, sound cones, and peripheral, in a sense. So the best way to put it is, if you look at old Metal Gear Solid, like the very first one, every single enemy had that blue cone coming off of them that you could see on the radar. And if you stepped inside that cone, they could see you. Well, the way I want this to function is they would have that line of sight, but they would also have another cone that extended further for peripheral reasons. So if you're stepping too much into the lighting and giving yourself away in their peripheral, they wouldn't spot you, but they would investigate you. So you wouldn't be completely giving yourself away, but they would be more alert to you being around. They'd be suspicious. It's like catching the glint of something shining in the left off in the corner of your eye. Same concept. As well as having not so much a cone, but a complete radius around them for sound. That just makes sense. I already said amount of whatever you're carrying with you would affect how fast you can move, how much you give yourself away, the ability to dye your equipment and change what you have might make you better camouflaged. Let's see here. I was also thinking not only just having everything from the first person, but having kind of a third-person cover system. Maybe? I don't know. That was just a thought rolling in my head. Let's see here. Stealth system, equipment. Parkour system would be nice to implement. So the heavier you are, obviously going to make a ton more noise. But you could also carry less equipment and be more able to climb things, jump over larger gaps, stuff like that. But all in all, it's just about the monster slaying. We don't have any good first-person monster slaying games right now. I've been looking for one for years, and I just can't seem to find any really good ones that stand out. A few indie titles here and there, and I've played a couple of them. Some of them are really okay. But, I feel like if I had the means to do a full-on game like this, that'd be great. It's just a matter of getting myself out there, doing all of the writing for all of my other books and whatever else that I'm working on, and then maybe I can focus more assets into finding a company who'd be interested in doing this. Maybe just a third-party indie company who'd be interested in building a bigger title like this. Maybe it doesn't even have to have a story, it's just monster slaying. I mean, I'd be interested in having co-op too, because co-op's just more fun. Yeah, single-player games are great. Dishonored is fantastic, the Thief games were fantastic. But I'd like to have a game like that to play with one other person, maybe a group of other people. I think the balance of 2, maybe 3 for a setting like this would be the best. Anything more than that might feel a little bit overpowered. Let's see here. Looks like I'm rolling up on the... Yeah, I've already passed the 30-minute mark. Thank you for anybody who's still watching. Anybody who's just kind of joining us and not sure what's going on. These Tuesday and Thursday streams every day, Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock, I'm doing streams based for my Patreon, for my attempt at becoming a professional writer, and let's see here, I can throw it on here. If you're watching on Twitch, my Patreon's below. Otherwise, you can just go patreon.com/DelanoGrowley. Let's see here. I can swap over. This is my actual Patreon page, and everything is really on there. Right now, I'm running it so until January 1st, so until the beginning of the new year, everything I post is free for everyone to view. Everyone to read, everything. And at the beginning of the year, I'm changing how my subscribers work, my memberships. You just have to be a member to have access to everything 1 month early. So everything I post is going to be free for everybody, but subscribers not only support me and help me try and make this into a career rather than just me working for everybody else and doing jobs that I've hated for a very long time. You can help me do my dream career of writing and making stories and building games and things like that instead. Subscribers and members also have access to my private Discord, which is currently barren. Nobody's on there. Not many of my subscribers even utilize Discord as much as I do. I mostly use it for memes and my friends on my public one, for all my public friends and things like that. But all of my artwork that's currently up there from several years ago, they're all placeholders right now. All of the current chapters for my main stories, even a couple of other side stories, just things that I've written over the last couple of years. D&D backstories or things like that. Side stories that I might turn into primary stories, just like Deus, my mech campaign that a friend of mine was running, and I decided to turn it into a story because even though the campaign lasted all of 2 sessions, he was running it in Mechton 2. Really interesting engine, but we were too overpowered, and we were doing things in a way that made him rage, in a sense. We were turning 4-on-4 fights into 4-on-2 slaughters at half the time. But anyway, my Patreon's up there. Anybody can view it. Take a look. If you'd like, subscribe. Please do. I'm not gonna beg, but I also know money's tight for everybody. That's just how it is, especially with the holidays coming up. But that's all the time I've got for now. And I will catch anybody who wants to keep watching. I will be here again, 6 o'clock Central on Thursday. I'm going to be doing these twice a week. And if I ever get to a point where I can do this part or full time, I'll be upping that, obviously, to a couple other days a week, possibly 5 days a week. I still have my gaming streams that I'm going to be doing on weekends, if I can ever get my friends to actually play stuff. Being an adult's hard. That's the best way to put it. But anyways, thank you for anybody still watching. Check out my other stuff, and I'll be here again on Thursday.